We are all hoping and praying it is going to be nice and peaceful throughout the week. Now, this, of course, the first day of the DNC, and new polls showing Kamala Harris leading Donald Trump in a head-to-head matchup. She's been riding a wave of rejuvenation and excitement for the Democratic Party. But what's it going to take to keep the momentum going, and how can the DNC make a difference? Joining us is our friend and political strategist, Delmarie Cobb. Welcome back. Always nice to have you here.
Thank you.
So Delmarie and I were just talking. We both were here in 1996. That was a different time. And we've also been talking about the fact that people keep trying to revert back to 68 when they had such an infamous convention. 96 was different. Explain what you remember during that time.
Well, I was the press secretary for the convention in 96, and so I'm the one who got all the media calls. And we had the largest number of media at that convention. 15,000 people came because of the specter of 68. Could Chicago outlive its reputation? And we were able to pull it off. I mean, the worst thing that happened was the day before when we had this terrible rainstorm.
Oh,
and
yes.
it got rid of the media tent, and then we had to hurry up and put it back.
Wow.
But the rest of the convention, it was perfect weather like it is right now. And so it was a wonderful convention.
Do you think, though, that because we are dealing in a different climate, that we can expect to see something different, not to the 1968 degree that we saw, but what do you expect to see with this climate as somebody who's experienced these and helped put these things together?
Well, I think because you've had a series of things happen from, of course, George Floyd, and then you had the war in Gaza and Israel, and then you've got Benjamin Netanyahu was here recently, and I think that also raised fears because you saw the protests when he spoke to the joint Congress. And so I think all of those things have played into let's make sure nothing goes wrong, because we don't want Chicago to have to be reminded of 68 and for anything to happen. So you are seeing the city over preparing, and I think it is over preparing. But as your earlier guest said, you prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah, you were saying you as you were coming to our studio, you saw a lot of the barricade. You were amazed at how many people were out there, police and fencing, right?
It's fencing all down Michigan Avenue and around the hotels where I'm sure the dignitaries are staying.
Okay, so let's talk Kamala Harris. This is her big week. She has gotten a huge bump since President Biden stepped aside in July. And usually during convention rallies, the nominee will get another bump as a result of the DNC, as a result of the RNC. What does this week mean to her, and what does she need to do to continue this momentum she has right now?
Well, the thing that she is grateful for, I'm sure, is the fact that the party in power is the one that has the last convention. And so that allows her to ride this bump all the way to November. Also, she was lucky enough to inherit the Biden-Harris ticket and the Biden-Harris infrastructure, and the Biden-Harris money. And so all of those things combined have put her in a strong position. But I do think that coming out of the convention, you're going to see more attention turned to her, and you're going to see more scrutiny. And I think that she's going to have to deal with that, and she's going to have a flawless campaign all the way through.
Yeah, flawless is right. So a lot of people are saying that she hasn't really defined who she is yet, and they're hoping that that's what we're going to hear on Thursday night, those who are her supporters. Does she have to separate herself from the president on Thursday during that speech?
You know, I know people are talking about her separating herself, but I don't think she's going to separate herself that much. I mean, she's certainly going to have her own identity, and she's going to have the issues that are passionate to her. And being a black woman, she's going to have issues that are only she can have and only she can talk about. And so I think that's going to be the difference. But in terms of feeling like she's got to run away from Biden and his policies, why would you do that? Because there would not be a Kamala Harris if there weren't a Joe Biden.
So there's talks of the peace talks happening, and that maybe there would be some sort of an agreement, but how long have we been hearing that, right? But how significant would that be for her campaign and for the Democratic Party going into November if that were to occur?
Oh, it's absolutely significant. I mean, that's what the protests are about, partially. And so everybody wants that to happen. And so if that happens prior to her taking office and she does become the next president, then she can ride that wave of good feeling and then making sure that we move towards a two-state solution, because that's what everybody wants.
Okay, so what is the biggest obstacle facing her right now? Is it the fact that we've got the Gaza-Israel issue going on right now, or is it the fact that she is not only female, but she is a black woman? History could be made. Is that the biggest obstacle she's facing?
I think the biggest obstacle is being a black woman. I always say, when they say, well, we elected Barack Obama, and I always say, yes, black men got the vote before women got the vote. All women got the vote. So he's still a man. And so she's still a woman, and she's a black woman on top of it. And so because of that, this is going to be a very hard lift. But when she says she's the underdog, she is the underdog.
That's what I was going to ask you. She has been saying she's the underdog. Do you believe she is?
Oh, absolutely, she's the underdog.
And define that. Why?
You cannot take that for granted. I mean, everybody thought Hillary Clinton was inevitable.
Yes.
And I always said she's not inevitable because there's never been a woman president. So what would make her be inevitable? And she had everything going for her, and she could not crack that glass ceiling. So to think that Kamala Harris is going to do it and she's just going to step in there, it's not going to happen. It's not going to be a cakewalk. This is going to be a heavy lift, and she's going to have to be the underdog mantle all the way to Election Day.
Okay, so you are a political strategist. Let's say you are running Kamala Harris's campaign, okay? What are you going to tell her to focus on? What are you going to tell her to really bring out? What can she be doing to counter what the Republicans are going to hit her with? As you said, after this convention is over, a lot of stuff's going to be coming her way.
Well, the good thing is we've got the debate coming up September 10th. I mean, it couldn't be coming at a better time, because she's going to ride that bump, and then she's going to get hit with some scrutiny, and then the debate is going to happen, and people are really going to get to see the difference in the two candidates, and that's going to make a big difference. And I think when people see that, that's going to be the narrative following it. So I think if she does all those things and then talks about kitchen table issues, which are affecting people every day, I think that's going to make the difference between her winning and losing.
Okay, so the DNC ends, and then the next thing everybody is going to be looking at is that first debate. She's a prosecutor. She's a very intelligent woman. She knows how to debate. How significant is that first debate going to be? Because we saw what happened with the last debate.
Well, you're not going to see a repeat. I know that for sure. Not only was she a prosecutor, but the fact that she is going to stay on message. That's the first thing. You've got somebody who cannot stay on message in terms of her opponent, and I think he's going to lose it. I think we're going to see the very thing that he accused Biden of doing is what we're going to wind up seeing him do, and that's a meltdown, because he cannot stand the fact that she's a woman. He cannot stand the fact that she's black. He cannot stand the fact that she's getting all the attention. I mean, all the things, every button that she needs to push is being pushed.
Is that going to be enough, though, in the end?
It's going to help, because I think more and more people are beginning to see that he is a liability because of the contrast now between Kamala Harris and him. When it was Joe Biden and him, people were so into, he was defining Joe Biden, and the media were all going along with it.
Does she bring up the age issue now?
She doesn't have to bring it up. It's automatic.
So you don't think that's something that even needs to be brought up as part of this?
Just like she's not bringing up that she's a woman and she's black. She doesn't need it. You see it every day.
You see it every day. Delmarie Cobb, always a pleasure. What a pleasure to talk to you again. I feel like, you know, you've been involved in this political world for so long, and you bring so much to the table. Thank you for coming in this morning and this afternoon. Good to see you.